Have you ever felt like you just have a little bit too much electricity in your body?
No, that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, me neither. But I decided to give it grounding a try to see if I could displace any of that energy.
Grounding, huh? That's a thing?
Maybe.
I guess we'll find out.
But first, this is the Fit Mess, where together we learn to develop habits that help us live beyond our mental health struggles to create happier, healthier lives.
He's Zach. He lives in the future with his anxiety.
He's Jeremy, and he lives in the past with his depression. And we get together once a week in the present to share the obstacles we face and how we overcome them. I bought grounding sheets.
You did not.
I did.
We were just talking about all the bed mattress stuff and how ridiculous the costs and the price tags are for all the things. You bought grounding sheets.
I did. I bought grounding sheets, and now I have since bought a grounding pad that I use to stand on when I'm at work.
Okay. Tell me more.
A while back, we talked about like all the ads that I've seen for, just the bedroom of like cooling the bed and heating the bed, grounding sheets, and like all these different things to like help out with things. And I was doing a little bit of research specifically on grounding, not necessarily, grounding sheets, but just, reading. I saw a couple of ads that made claims about grounding. And I was like, if that's true, I would be really interested to understand like what it is and why and this and that. So I started looking at, grounding and how, in the 1960s when, rubber-soled shoes were introduced, like we literally disconnected from the earth. Like there was very few times where human beings are, touching the earth. And at the, whether it's causation or not, there is correlation between that event happening and like all this rampant amount of diseases that are, have sprung up over the last, 60 years or so.
Just to put a fine point on this, correlation, not causation.
Exactly. So like, I'm not saying for sure. I'm not saying that the lack of grounding is what's causing all of these things.
Right.
However, I have been suffering from a couple of, physical things. I've had the worst golf elbow. So like, the tendon on the inside of my elbow it's been chronic. It's been like 4 months to the point where like it hurts to touch on the outside. Like washing my hands really hurt. Just massive amounts of inflammation on that tendon and that joint in there. I've also had, an issue with my right hip and a little bit of an issue with my left hip and an issue with my ankle. Like I'm always in pain in some way, shape, or form, right? So like I've got all these things going on. So I was like, okay, now grounding sheets, like they literally, they don't change the voltage, or actually they do change the voltage of your body. They don't it's not electricity passing through you. It really is just like discharging energy, right? Like whatever's in your body, it just has a flow out. And the science of it does make sense. Like I looked into it, and we can put links in the show notes somewhere. So, and I saw these ads, and they had like sheets that were like $300 for a set of sheets for my bed. And I was like, well, that's stupid. I have to be able to find a cheaper one. So I actually went to like Alibaba and like found like where these people are sourcing these things from and requested a sample and got one for like $50.
Nice.
So just a hint, if you're ever looking for like a cold plunge tub or a sauna or things like that, you can literally go to Alibaba and buy a sample at wholesale rates. Nice. So just FYI. So I got these sheets. We came in. I literally got my multimeter out. I got some testing equipment out. Went through like 6 different YouTube videos to make sure that it actually was working in the right way, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I could actually see the voltage level in my body drop when I touched it. So
that's crazy.
Like, and it's just really normal, right? That's just what happens. And I went outside and I, plugged one end to the ground and put my foot on the ground and like did all that stuff and saw the exact same voltage drop. So it does something to the electrical component of the human body, right? In a measurable way.
Yeah.
2 days of sleeping on those sheets, and my elbow felt 75% better. It's been going on for 4 months.
You did nothing else different.
I did nothing else. I even went to the gym over those 2 days. It felt 75% better. I've been sleeping on the sheets now for like a week and a half now. Oh, on and off. Like when I'm at my girlfriend's house, I'm not sleeping on them. So I'd say maybe a total of 6 nights I was on these sheets, and like my elbow is probably 90% better. Like it's been going on for 4 months, and it's excruciating. Like I couldn't do pull-ups at all because my elbow hurt so much. And it's like 90% better. I've done nothing. Like I haven't been doing the 10 stimulation on it. I haven't been doing anything except sleeping on these sheets. My hips don't hurt as much. My like things I've been getting, like I track all my sleep. My deep sleep increased by like 15% every single night. Crazy differences in my body from just grounding.
So I'm no electrician, much to my dad's disappointment, probably. Now, my very limited and probably wrong understanding of electricity is that it's discharged immediately, like if it has that outflow. So how is it different from standing on the ground for 10 seconds versus laying on these sheets for 8 hours?
It is no different, right? So you stand on the ground for 10 seconds, discharge, like you've got that discharge.
Yeah.
You lay on the sheets for 10 seconds, you've got that discharge. But just think about the body being able to remain in that state for 8 hours as opposed to 10 seconds.
Right.
It's just the longer you're there, the better your body is in, or the better shape your body is in long term.
Okay. And so what is the promise of doing this? So obviously, like your anecdotal experience is lower pain, better sleep. What does it promise? What in all the ads and all the research you've seen, what is it supposed to do for you?
Okay, so at the end of the day, really what it's doing is it's reducing the inflammation in your body, period. So all of these diseases that have plagued us over the last 60 years, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, like all of these things are in some way, shape, or form have been linked back to like chronic inflammation in your body, right? I mean, that's all been proven. That's scientific studies all over the place. So it just got me wondering. I was like, so what happens to the human body when you just reduce that inflammation or that the electrical charge that causes the inflammation for 8 hours a night? I'm also grounded while I'm working. So I'm just sitting back and like watching and waiting to see what happens next. But I can honestly tell you, like, my shoulders have always been problematic. They don't hurt as much. My neck has always been super tight and janky. It doesn't hurt as much. And I'm just doing more at the gym. Like, it's very interesting. I'm very intrigued by this, and I would love to know if anyone else is using them too.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are a lot of people that are trying to debunk it and say it's nonsense. It's just a gimmick to get more money out of your pocket and whatever. And again, this is new to me, but the little I know is that there are very few studies, but there are several that say that there seem to be some benefits. So it's just I feel like this could be one of those things that in 10 years, we're looking back and going like, man, that I'm so glad this was discovered and was promoted, because it turns out there's now all this research that shows that it helps. And it's also I was talking to a friend of mine about this the other day, the idea of the placebo effect and how beneficial actually, it was my chiropractor. We were talking about the placebo effect and the fact that even if whatever you're doing doesn't scientifically do anything, but you feel the effects of it and it benefits your life,
it did something.
How is it not worth doing, right?
Yeah.
And he was talking about, even as a chiropractor, he's like, there's tons of studies that say that what I do as a chiropractor is purely placebo. Like, you come in and you feel better because you came to see me, even though what I did may have done nothing. You feel better. So why would you not do the thing that does the least harm that provides some good? And so I think grounding might be, one way or another, one of those tools that either it does nothing, but if it benefits you because you think it does, great, money well spent. If you buy it thinking this is nonsense, this is going to do nothing, you're probably going to have that result. Yeah. So definitely an interesting experiment that you're running right now.
Oh, like I said, if it's placebo, I'll take it. If it's not, I'll also take it. But I didn't go into it. Like, I actually wasn't even thinking about my elbow. I was just thinking about like general overall inflammation.
Right. Yeah.
And then on like day 2, and I was like, oh my God, I can straighten my arm and it doesn't hurt. What just happened? Like, I'm not kidding. This has been like severely painful for 4 months. The only thing I did was put these goddamn sheets on my fucking bed. That's it. That's
now,
it.
What happens when you put these things in the dryer? Does it cause a fire? What's going on with the safety of these things?
The directions said hand wash only. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, so when these get dirty, I'm going to throw them out.
Just going to burn them. Yeah, just
and
burn them and buy new
ones.
Nobody's hand washing sheets. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, no. We are not in the 60s when we introduced the rubber-soled shoes, right? No.
Right.
I don't know how to clean them yet. All I'm saying is they seem to have done something for me. So
yeah. Interesting. Well, good luck. Keep us posted. I'm curious to see if you see continued benefits from it, or if the pain in your elbow turns into a pain in the ass.
We'll see. We will see. All right. So for anyone who's listening and is going, oh, well, maybe I'm going to give that a shot. Do your research. Like, I mean, they're not harmful, right? At the very least, it's not doing anything negative to you. So, I mean, if you want to try it, give it a shot. Go into it with an open mind. Try it out. I would love to hear anyone's results if anyone else wants to try it. And like I said, the really expensive sheets are the exact same thing as the super cheap ones. You can go on Amazon, and there's a whole bunch of cheap options. So if you want to try it for, not the $300 price tag that some of these other guys have, you can do it for like, probably less than $100.
If we were smart, we would have tried to line up an affiliate deal on this grounding sheet business and try to sell something in the show notes for this episode at thefitmess.com.
But, we're not always smart.
We're not always smart. If by some miracle, by the time this is published, we have come up with an affiliate deal, you'll find the link to that in the show notes, along with past episodes and all kinds of information. And you can find ways to share this episode if it might be beneficial for someone else that that would be interested in experimenting with grounding sheets or grounding technology in whatever form it takes right now.
And if we find an affiliate, by the time we air this, we'll probably go back in and remove all those comments on how you can find cheap ones.
Right, you'll only find them in that link at our website. But that's going to do it for now. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode at thefitmess.com. Thanks for listening.
See you, everyone.
We know this podcast is amazing, and it doesn't seem to lack anything, but we need a legal disclaimer. Prior to implementing anything discussed in this podcast, it is your responsibility to conduct your own research and consult your physician. You should assume that Jeremy and Zach don't know what they're talking about, and they're not liable for any physical or emotional issues that occur directly or indirectly from listening to this podcast.